Ukraine blessed nature, cursed history. Ukraine is one of the largest countries in Europe with fertile soil and abundant mineral resources and is a geographical crossroads of the Eurasian continent. Its location in the Eastern European plain, without high mountains, forms natural borders, and historically, it has experienced a pattern of changing rulers. With Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022, Ukraine is once again facing a major crisis, rooted in the long-standing animosity between the two countries. Ukraine's history dates back to the 8th century BC, and Homer referred to the land on the north coast of the Black Sea as the land of the Cimmerians in the Odyssey. Later, the Scythians, a nomadic people from Central Asia, migrated and occupied the region, and in the 7th century BC, Greeks established colonies on the Black Sea coast and the Crimean Peninsula. Ukraine's current territory began with the partition occupation by the Russian Empire, Austria-Hungary, Habsburg monarchy, in 1795, and continued when it was annexed to the Soviet Union, led by Russia, in 1922. Ukraine has documented records since the 8th century BC, and in the 5th century BC, the cities of the Black Sea coast established the Bosporus Kingdom, which became independent from the Greek mainland and flourished before being subjugated to the Roman Empire. After that, it fell under the influence of the Eastern Roman Empire, and in 882 AD, the Kievan Rus was established, which became the root of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. This kingdom was a prominent power in medieval Europe. In the 9th century, a Norse-Germanic Varangian named Rurik established the Novgorod Rus kingdom and founded the Kievan Rus kingdom, taking the city-state of Kiev, which his kin had discovered, as its capital. They called themselves the Rus people, and the name Kiev is said to have originated from the name of Rurik's eldest son, Chi. The Slavic founding legend of the 14th century tells the story of three brothers, Lech, Czech, and Rus, who went on a hunt together but settled in different places, explaining the founding of Poland, Czechia, and Kievan Rus. The Kievan Rus disappeared in the 13th century due to the Mongol invasion, and afterwards, it was ruled by the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and the Cossacks until the rise of the Moscow Principality, which became the center of the Russian state. In the late 18th century, the Russian Empire and the Austro-Hungarian Empire divided and occupied the eastern and western parts of the region, respectively. Today, Russia and Ukraine both claim to be the descendants of Kievan Rus. The name Ukraine first appeared in 1917, when nationalist activists declared the establishment of an independent state shortly after the Russian Revolution. Ukraine was subsequently incorporated into the Soviet Union in 1922 and developed into a major grain-producing region and industrial center during the Soviet era. However, during Stalin's forced collectivization campaign in 1932 to 1933, a brutal grain seizure and famine occurred, causing at least 3.5 million deaths. This was followed by the Great Purge of 1937 to 1938, during which tens of thousands of Ukrainian communists, intellectuals, and peasants were executed. During World War II, Ukraine was a center of the German-Soviet conflict, and many young Ukrainians were conscripted into the Soviet army. Some far-right nationalists collaborated with Nazi Germany in the hopes of achieving independence, but Ukraine received no protection during the war, and almost 7 million people, including soldiers and civilians, perished, including in massacres. Because of this historical background, Professor Timothy Snyder has referred to Ukraine as the Black Earth, a land that is both fertile and a giant tomb, and there are books on this topic as well. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Ukraine declared itself a neutral state, but its relationship with Russia was strained. In 1994, the Budapest Memorandum was signed, in which Ukraine agreed to give up nuclear weapons in exchange for territorial and sovereignty guarantees, but Russia did not keep its promise. Ukraine has faced constant pressure from Russia, prompting it to strengthen its relationship with Western Europe. Since the Orange Revolution in 2004 and Revolution of Dignity in 2014, Ukraine has been subject to Russia's political and military interference. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea and supported the separatist insurgency of pro-Russian forces in the eastern Donbass region. In 2019, Ukrainian citizens passed a constitutional amendment that explicitly stated their intention to join NATO, and they elected Volodymyr Zelensky as president. In response, Russian President Vladimir Putin launched a unilateral military aggression. Thanks for watching. Your support means the world to me.